Had a couple things on my mind. Just wanted to get out. I feel like um, sometimes it's like hard to find somebody else who thinks on the same kind of thing, kind of path that I think on. So sometimes, just like instead of just wasting my thoughts, why not just use my advantage and put it over here? Hopefully, somebody else will see it and agree with what I see, or have a deeper dialogue than what is usually had. Because out in this world we have here, people are just material worshippers, and they just want to get onto the next trend, and then everybody just wants to be seen, and but nobody really wants to be uh, saying things or doing things of real value, things that will really, you know, especially morally, things that are morally right and will have you going for a much longer period of time. And the world will corrupt you, and the world can corrupt you if you don't feel like you need to keep going, or if you don't feel like you want to adhere to the materialism worship of the world. They'll have you thinking something's wrong with you, but all this shit is bullshit. Like, all this shit goes away, it wears away, it wears off. You know, so materialism is a false idol. It's what's inside you that really counts. How are you to people around you? How do you contribute back to your community? And not just like the cheap celebrity stuff that they don't, the celebrities donate out here to get everyone thinking that they're like, good people or whatever. Like, certain celebrities will donate like turkeys and stuff like that around Thanksgiving, but will ignore the communities they come from and they'll pretend they don't see what's going on. Like, they'll do they'll be blatant acts of like housing discrimination, and people can barely really get by. We get pushed out their housing by like like certain cities will use bullying tactics, or certain kind of the landlords and stuff like that will use certain tactics to get people to move out of housing, and they'll use that and they'll do that, and because those people are already in those kind of predicaments, many times, it's easy to get on them. They're easy targets and stuff like that, and people won't really care. Everyone's like, whatever. You're already a low income person or whatever, so you know people probably already like, oh, you're already using welfare. You're already using welfare. You're probably already lazy. It's probably they're probably thinking it's a criminal kind of area. Many times that the two go together. You know, Low income criminal, all that kind of stuff, housing, all that goes together. So everyone just starts jumping on it immediately, and they're like, oh, boom, you know, get them out of there. Change it, fix it up. That's what you need. Get those people out of there. They're the problem. But you know that goes into society. That goes into society. No one's ever really having real conversations about what's going on in society in general. Like, everyone's got like this like box mind, boom, 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 and everyone thinks the world is like just them, and like fuck everybody else. If you get yours and the next person doesn't get it, that's on them. See you later. And you don't understand, we're all connected. So when they get fucked up and they go out there and something happen and they do something, eventually it's gonna make its way all the way around to you, or somebody that connected to you who's gonna feel it, and you're gonna be sitting there wondering what's going on. Like, for instance, you know, this country, uh, this country decided to have certain practices of letting certain neighborhoods get flooded with drugs and things like that. Thinking that it'd just be those communities, they would go away. Nobody would hear about them. They just fall apart. And no, it became a certain cultural trend It became part of a culture, that swept the entire, it's now sweeping the entire country, and it's led to all different types of led from crack to ecstasy, all kinds of pill popping, all kinds of DMT, all kinds of DMT is different, but it led to all different types of experimentation. Led to now, Molly and lean, and now you got people, this fentanyl, all these fentanyl that's people doing these pills, using these drugs from China. So now you got fentanyl laced. I think they can even lace weed. They can lace weed with fentanyl. So you got people dying from that like crazy, and that all comes from resulting in people ignoring the drug issues because it was limited to a certain group of people. So you didn't see them as you, so you thought that was okay. That was just gonna be their problem, and you refuse to realize that this whole society is interconnected. You can't segregate anything. You can't just let certain people die off and think that's just gonna be like what it is. Like if you let that happen, then like you're a witness now, and now all you're doing is all you did was allow that evil to get stronger, and now it's going to get fortified and come for you. That's how the Germans were able to get so strong. They weren't dealt with in the beginning. They're allowed to take Poland, and they were allowed to, invade, all these other countries on their way to get to Western Europe. The Britons and the French, if they had dealt with them the way they're supposed to, they would have completely neutralized, or they would have neutralized them pretty good early on. It wouldn't have been a whole crazy war of destruction that it was, and just tens of millions of deaths that didn't need to happen. Like, didn't need to happen at all. But it happened because people wanted to be selfish, and it's like, that's not my people. Those are people over there. Eventually, it comes this way, it comes that way, it comes this way, it comes that way, and then all of a sudden you see all this casualties of death, and everyone's caught up in it, bombing cities. They were bombing cities in Europe with civilians in them. I bet you those civilians thought they didn't have that. I'm not a Jew. I'm not a gypsy. They're like, oh, I'm not, deformed. I'm not whatever it is, Slavic, that could get you thrown into, these categories where you could die. Like, at that point, there's no discrimination anymore. Like, whoever, if you can all get it, everybody can catch it. The bombs don't discriminate, the bullets don't discriminate. If they're on a rampage and they're conquering, it's whatever. If you're in the way, you're getting laid down. So that's what society still hasn't reached. We haven't reached that collective consciousness where we start to realize that we are not separate. We are all one, and we must all behave as if we are one, and not see somebody as a lesser, or put people on false pedestals. So you just worship them, but refuse to recognize the things that they have done that are damaging or misleading or whatnot to the collective. Because that's what a lot of these celebrities do. They'll put things out there and have us running around chasing things, and it'll be a false narrative. And that's what our society also is based on, a lot of false narratives. And people refuse to deal with it, people refuse to deal with all these false narratives that are in our society, and that's why we continuously are like walking in the desert. Like in the Bible, we constantly walk in the desert because we refuse to deal with the false narratives that we are under. We are under a lot of false doctrines, and the latest one is, you already know what the latest one is. Everyone's getting you can't even cough. Once you cough, everyone looks at you like, everyone looks at you crazy. Like, it's crazy. I feel like, they should just buy bat flu survival kit, or bat flu testing kit, and just sell that shit. Fuck the vaccine with a V word. Sell the survival kit and we just swab our own noses and all that, and then boom. But whatever, So like, society is just everybody's on their own thing. Everybody wants to do them. Everybody wants to be team self, antisocial, and that is why we continuously lose. Continuously. The people who run the show, they are not like that. They work together. They understand that they need to be together and united. There's like a few hundred people that really run this world. Think about that. A few hundred people rule more than like 7 billion people. And they are also the ones who apparently feel that 7 billion people is not what they need on this earth, because it doesn't allow them to rule the way they want to rule. Because if we start acting up and start realizing that there's 7 billion people and start acting like 7 billion people that need to get their just treatment, then they will be in big trouble. They will not have the luxuries that they have now to go taxing us the way they tax us unfairly, sanction nations whenever they want to, completely rig countries and elections the way they continuously just plunder through it, the way they want to. All this money disappearing, of course, y'all probably know about the money that disappeared, or, from the Pentagon. When they better look it up. Money disappeared from the Pentagon. You better look up, all those random occurrences. There's probably more random occurrences in these psyopses. A lot of these things are psyopses that we see on the news that are called terror attacks. A lot of these things, these mass shootings and things like that, a lot of them, if you look at them, they don't make any sense. Like the Las Vegas shooting, the dude was by himself and he had all types of big kinds of crazy rifles or whatever. I don't remember exactly what, but it was like, the guy was like 55 years old with all this type of shit, and he was apparently shooting out like that. And it didn't make sense what the people on the ground were saying, because some of them were saying that they heard multiple people. So something going on there. But anyway, regardless of that, there's a lot of there's gonna be a lot of problems, because the people who are on top, they want everything for themselves. They want less for other people, and they have to figure out, or they're coming to the conclusion. They basically come to the conclusion. Their solution for this is that it's eugenics. They need to lower the population. They see it's like it's a herd. Someone said this. I forgot who said this, but it's called herd immunity for a reason. Like, that's how they see us, as a herd. And we're treated like a herd. They treat certain, like, it's like what they dog breeders do, or certain animal breeders that treat certain populations differently, so they can see how they respond and things like that, and how to it basically treats certain groups of people in different ways, so it creates a different mindset, and they'll behave in different ways when certain things come out. So, like, they know that black people in America especially are very emotional, so they come out with a lot of emotional news when it comes to black people, especially when it comes to voting and stuff like that. All the voting every 4 years, all the civil rights and everything like that is all emotional based. They don't actually come through with any kind of material, anything that they claim that they're going to come through with. They always come with the emotional stories about somebody who was black and they overcame stuff, and now they work in the Senate, who's not going to do anything for black people. They just come through with the emotional stories, and people eat it up because everyone's a believer in the dream. They have the dream, but it's just not. It's not realistic. None of it's based in realism. But that's how they do it. They cultivated black people to a certain point for so long to be emotional that it's just like second nature. People want to react emotionally before they react logically. So you continuously fall for the same stuff over and over, because you have an emotional attachment to things. And then you got, so if you're emotional thinking person, you're over here and you're always worried about these emotional things, but then let's say they go over to like the Middle East, they've been brought up, many of them, to be certain types of Muslims over hundreds of years, and the battles over there and being captured under Islam and things like that. And then So if you're going to control them, you have to do it under a religious kind of theme, you know. So over there, they have that kind of mindset over there. And then if you go to, uh, it all depends, So if you go to like China and India, they're big countries, big population. So if you're gonna control them, you really need to be like stomp down. Like you need to stomp down on them, and you need to control the top people that are in charge. You have to have the people who are like, because in China and India, you have people that are doing real good and stuff like that. And, so they don't give a shit about the people the mass majority who are probably just making it by, and so they set the rules, and then all the mass majority that's barely getting by, they gotta figure out how to, you know, basically follow their lifestyle, which is not realistic for them. It's not realistic. It's not realistic to them, and it's not gonna actually help them have any upward mobility. But it's a monopoly game that's set up to constantly keep them running around thinking that something's gonna happen, and the people who created the monopoly game, they're just laughing at it, and they're just looking at all the profits from it, because they're the ones who make money off of the division. But yeah, my next video I'll be talking about who are they, and like everybody talks about the monopoly game. The game, this whole the money and everything like that. The world is just a monopoly game. Everything that you see and everything that we just got to deal with, it's a commercialized world. Everything is commercialized, and we're talking about that next time though. But right now, it's just like, yeah, we're all supposed to be acting like one people. We're not supposed to be thinking about borders and languages and everything like that. We keep going into it, and we keep getting trolled, and one-dimensional thinking is the answer for that. It's the big problem with most people out here. People are so focused on just their thing, their mindset, whatever is plaguing them, and they don't really see a bigger picture in this world. They don't really see that there's bigger forces going on around here. And people got short-term memories too, people, because especially with this quick social media content, it comes in and it comes in and it goes out. It comes in and it goes out. It comes in and goes out. It feels like the news is just like boom, 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 boom. Not even the news, like the internet news is like pumping things out. So yeah, like you can't even keep up. You can't keep up with it. But you gotta just turn it off, and we gotta come together and make a different type of information outlet. I'm thinking of some stuff myself to counter the stuff, and we gotta move fast too. Gotta counter the powers that be that have their own plan with our real people plan. Because we're the essential workers. We're the ones who make this happen. We put them in power, but we have it backwards, ass backwards. And we think that, we gotta look to them for anything. We shouldn't be looking to them for anything. All we gotta do is walk into Washington, D.C. and just, let them know, hey, you know what? Hey, we unelected. We could just be like, hey, you do not get to sit there and not do anything. So, hey, you don't do your job. In any other case, you're fired. And in this case, the people say you're fired. So, yeah, we could do it like that. But, that'll take some time for us to finally, shake it off. Because we're used to abuse, Just the world in general is just, everybody's used to abuse, and, we all get indoctrinated. So, we gotta get used to standing up for ourselves. We gotta stand up, make our voices heard, or else we'll lose them forever. So yeah, those are my points right there. You gotta stand up for yourself. You gotta Um, realize that there's one world out here, not the one world order, but the one world where we all see each other on the same playing field, and we have to realize that we have each other, and we must be organized together in order to take down the people that are running the show. A few hundred people run everything. We gotta realize that we gotta stop being one-dimensional. We gotta stop being, simple-minded people. We gotta see through. We gotta see layers in life. Like not every problem is just a one. Like you can just point your finger to it and be like, boom, oh, that's how it happened. Like the reason why there's so much violence is because people just don't believe in hope. People just say silly stuff like that. They run around with just one-dimensional thinking, like one sentence words, or a little four-word sentence for why there's problems in the world. People really think you can just give some motivational speech bullshit for why certain problems are, like certain things. They're layered. There's layered psychological things going on that have made our present situation what it is. Certain historical events, have happened that have tailored our mindset a certain way and brought us to where we are now. And then, and it's the kind of thing where you do certain things and you don't even know why you're doing it. We're just all brought up a certain way. We do certain things and it has benefits. It doesn't benefit us. It benefits somebody else. Certain people that apparently seem to have all the power and wield all the power to 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 rule over us, and we don't even know it. It's crazy, but it's got to change. So we got to start standing up, and like right now, we got to make our voices heard. So, like, share, subscribe.